Hey everybody, I'm Andrew.
And I'm Paul.
And welcome to Fan Voice episode 17.
We're totally losing track of them.
Yeah,
we have no idea who starts anymore.
We no idea, so we're just going on whatever.
Yeah.
We're just doing it. We're just doing the intro. So this episode is going to be about Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Which premiered
last
weekend.
Yeah.
And made a lot of money in its opening weekend. I wish I could remember the numbers off the top of my head. Should have looked that up.
I can safely assume that it is once again the top movie.
Yeah.
It seems like every new blockbuster is the new top movie now.
Yeah, pretty
you
much.
Notice that?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you make
This is
money,
the new
we
top-
get it.
Yeah. This is the new top movie ever. Okay, we understand. No,
but it was pretty good.
Yeah, and I mean, it's amazing too, because everybody thought it was going to be... Everybody was saying it was going to be a flop. It was gonna
Really?
do terribly. Nobody knows who these characters are. Why would they go and see it? And I'm like, alright, hold on a second. We have Zoe Saldana and Chris Pratt,
Mm-hmm.
and then the voices of Bradley Cooper and Vin Diesel.
Yeah.
People are going to go see it.
And plus,
and so that was never down my mind.
It's still Marvel, you know?
Yeah, I'm like, Marvel put its face on it.
Yeah.
They're gonna go see it.
Yeah.
So I never got that point of view where people were like, no, they'll never see it. People will never see it. It's gonna go do terribly.
I guess I kind of understand, like, I didn't think it would do bad, but I did kind of think there was a riskiness towards it, because it's not an iconic group like Iron Man or Captain America or something like that.
And that's very true.
Yeah.
That's very true, but I think the Marvel stamp of quality means something to people
I
now.
think they did it at the right time. Cause, like,
right, there's nothing else coming out.
Especially recently, they've been plowing out all of these movies, and everyone has, like, just about everyone has loved, like, every single one. I mean, or almost every single one.
Yeah, I mean, everybody thinks
it's like the Iron Mans, the Avengers, and stuff.
And now, at this point, we've gotten to know these characters, and we know the realistic, like all of these are more realistic, except maybe Thor, right?
Mm-hmm.
All of these are the more realistic superheroes, and I think this was now the time to be like, all right, balls to the wall.
Let's go crazy.
Let's go nuts. And it works.
Yeah, they're at this stage where it's like, okay, we brought to light the iconic characters that people knew the names of, but possibly not the origins.
Exactly.
Okay, now they're super curious in our world. Let's start digging deeper.
Yeah, and bringing in the fact that there was no... This was the amazing thing to me about Guardians of the Galaxy. Spoilers, by the way, for this. There was no other recognizable people except Thanos. Thanos was the only one in the entire movie.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
Mm-hmm.
To do that and to still expect audiences to be on board.
Well,
that was the riskiness to me.
I guess
it was like,
the Collector, he was in
that's
Thor
true.
2, right?
Barely, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that's kind of true.
But yeah, I definitely get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like, for them to go on board. And what is it? No one really had any indication that Thanos would be in this from the trailers.
No.
Yeah.
And I thought it was great that he's kind of the one pulling the strings.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because he's obviously going to be the main... He's going to be the main bad guy for the Avengers.
Absolutely.
And now he's chalking up to be one of the main bad guys
he had
for
a
Guardians.
little chunk in Guardians, and it's like, are they going to, like, team up?
I
think Thanos is going to be saved for 3.
Yeah. I mean,
Definitely.
You can bet that they're going to team up against him, and that's going to be, like, one of the pinnacle movies.
It's going to be, like, cameo
insanity,
insanity, and everyone's going to go nuts.
It's going to be crazy. So, I like what they're doing with that, because it's, like, same universe, Thanos, and then, Guardians and Avengers, they would be able to...
I mean, that's really cool. Yeah, it really is absolutely beautiful how much they're interconnecting all of their Marvel universes.
Yeah.
Which, I guess fairly, that's how the comics are, but, like, in a film aspect, I'd say that'd be really difficult to do with, like, such a smaller margin of time.
Marvel has things planned out. They know
absolutely.
what's up. And I like that aspect of it. A lot of people say, oh, they're just doing it to, make money, cash in on recognizable characters and
Mhm.
cameos in other movies, and I'm like, well, yeah, sure, but that's what comics do all the time.
Exactly.
So a comic book movie makes sense to do that with, because
Yeah.
it's like, oh, let's have a cameo of this guy. Oh, what would happen if these two guys fought? It's like, that's cool.
They're slowly trying to make it more like their comic series, you know? It's like
Totally.
waiting to see things. It's like, how does this work with this kind of things?
How does everything connect?
Yeah, the connections are
Mhm.
becoming more complicated, but still really awesome. 'Cause
Yeah.
people are learning to follow it through the movies.
Yeah. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see where they go with it,
Mm-hmm.
because I think it could be really, really cool.
Absolutely.
Especially considering the fact that I want to see Tony Stark and
with Chris Pratt.
with Star
Oh
Lord.
my gosh!
I think that would
It's
be
that
amazing.
that concoction.
That
is
would-
like,
that-
I
I
can't
just
even
love it.
imagine it
I
right
know,
now.
right?
It would
Robert
be so
Downey
great.
Jr. and Chris Pratt in the same room, like with a good script, it could be hilarious.
Yeah, they don't even need to be fighting. They're just.
I know,
talking.
right? They're just talking.
It's like you two are.
That would be great.
Absolutely.
So I'm that's what I'm looking forward to, is I want to see that.
Yeah.
Because that was the thing about Guardians of the Galaxy for me, is that was the most enjoyable part, was it was funny.
Yeah.
And it
was
yeah.
incredible how
it was
like
the
hilarious
script
it was.
The script was oddly good. Like
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting it to be that funny, but there were a lot of funny moments. Now I will say there are also moments that missed for me.
Like what?
Like comedy wise, I guess.
Okay.
Actually, and there were hit and miss moments. To me, the movie was hit and miss. I'm just gonna go ahead and say that right now. But comedy kind of as well. Maybe not as much as other aspects of the movie, but there were some comedic elements. Like there were lines that I was like, "You tried, and I get it," but that was not funny at all.
Like which ones?
Like Rocket does the fake laugh, and they have a banter about the fake laugh.
Oh.
And I was kind of like,
It's like eh.
and then
Yeah.
and then it's almost like the script and the director knew that was like kind of an awkward and line didn't fit,
Yeah.
because he rushed into the next scene
Oh.
immediately, and I was like, oh, okay,
That's
short
interesting.
attention spans.
Yeah.
And that's the first thought I had, is anytime there wasn't a super funny line that was just kind of like, that was weird and not funny, and okay, that was totally random, it immediately rushed into the next thing,
Mhm.
because it's a fast-paced movie. It's a Marvel
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah, definitely.
This is not a smart, we're gonna take our time, this is just a let me just shove shit in your eyeballs for 90 minutes movie. I mean, that's what it is,
Mhm.
and it's good for it, but it definitely, there were hit and miss moments for me
Yeah.
with the comedy.
I mean, it's definitely tough when it's like 98% jokes through the whole movie.
Yeah, and I mean, it really is, and I'll say, it's not that high, because that's my other problem with the movie, is I personally thought that the moments that were supposed to be sentimental or have heart just ended up being really sappy,
Hmm.
and it didn't work for me.
Well, there were a few, I guess, but I really liked the ending.
Okay.
It kind of got to me when they were all like holding hands and stuff to like retain the power. I don't know. I
Friendship,
thought
man, the power
was-
of friendship.
it was a beautiful
I mean-
display of unity, but it made sense to have them all contain the power together, kind of.
Yeah,
thing,
no,
in separate vessels to
That's true.
dissipate.
I don't know. I was kind of like, we're doing a friendship thing. Is that what we're doing?
No, I thought
Okay.
that was absolutely great because like stacking on all of their individual skills and stuff, that scene really hammered down the stamp that this isn't just a group of superheroes. This is a team. Kind
Sure,
of thing.
yeah, but it rushed it. We didn't know
Yeah.
it was a team until 30 minutes before that scene. That's my
Sure.
problem.
Mhm.
Is it's like, well, let's be friends. You all hated each other 10 minutes ago, so what happened? Did
Yeah.
one of you she
That's
almost
true.
died? I guess. I don't know. To me, it was like, I appreciated the fact that that's where they were going with it,
Mhm.
but it just kind of lost me. And the ending was cool, and it was very like, I'm glad that's where they went with it. But at the same time, I was kind of like, I didn't get that for the rest of the movie.
Mhm.
Like, I didn't get that's what was happening, and then suddenly we're all
Like,
best
I
friends and we
think
need to protect each other. I was kind of like, oh, okay.
It's really tough with a team movie like this to really, especially when they're all complete strangers,
Yeah.
to like get them all together for some reason and then get them fighting together kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's not like the Avengers where it's like there's this higher power bringing them together through like obligation or something like
well,
that.
there is though, because they're put together because they need to stop him.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. Guardians didn't have a higher power putting them together kind of thing. It was just sort of like chance that they all like ran into each other almost.
Okay. I
And
guess.
plus Shield was resonating throughout all the
Avenger stuff.
Marvel movies.
No, and that I'll agree with. Like the Shield is always there to kind of be like the catalyst in a way of like getting Iron Man and Captain America together. Otherworldly people, they kind of like come in, like Thor, kind of like comes in and then leaves, right? Like
that's true.
So I mean, I get what you're saying. I totally get what you're saying. I at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy, I was like, yeah, that was okay. But
It was really a lot to digest, because
it's fast paced.
Yeah, I mean, like like these characters are all new and separate, as opposed to like all the other Avengers had their own movies, so we've kind of known them for a while and stuff like that. But it's like, no, you need to know this character within 10 minutes kind of thing.
And that's my main problem with, I guess, movies in general, but more so action movies recently, is that it's so incredibly fast paced, and they just ask you, well, just moving on. And
Bond with this character right now.
Yeah, and so it was like, I didn't really bond with Star-Lord in the first 5 minutes of the movie where his mom dies. Actually, I kind of do. That's not true. Yeah. But later on, with him and Gamora, what was that? Hold on, real quick. Let's just fall in love. Never mind. Okay,
but
now we're good.
You know what I appreciate?
The fact that they didn't.
Yes!
Yeah, I get it.
And I
get it.
What is it? It really, in the early trailers, there's this scene with Gamora taking her shirt off, and you see like the back of her for some reason or whatever, just for that mandatory sex appeal of the trailer kind of thing. But they didn't have that in the movie. Yeah. Which I was really happy about, because like, no, sex isn't necessary for a good movie.
So, I mean, I don't know, I can't, and we'll talk about Gamora in a second. But, I don't know, there were, to me, the sentimental or like moments that were supposed to have heart, a lot of times didn't, and to me just felt like rushed.
You just didn't have enough time with the characters.
That's what I felt like.
Because like it was trying to slam their character appeal, sentimentality, and their mission all into an hour and a half. Yeah, which is really difficult with 5 main people.
Seriously.
Yeah.
It might be 2 hours. I don't know if it's 2 hours. It's probably 2
maybe
hours.
2 hours.
But whatever. It's not
still
long
a
enough.
short time.
It's not long enough.
Definitely.
But yeah, so that was my only problem with that whole thing. At the end, it might have been a better moment if I wasn't thinking the whole time that this is basically a movie about friendship, and I was thinking of Yu-Gi-Oh! And My Little Ponies, for God's sake, and I'm like, oh god, friendship. So
friendship is the most powerful
friendship is
force
magic,
in the universe.
Man. It's like, I don't know.
You just have to accept it.
But I oddly liked Groot a lot. That was one of the things that...
Groot was freaking adorable.
Groot was awesome.
Yeah.
And I really liked Rocket, and I really liked Drax. I was not expecting that.
Yeah,
He was funny, and he's just like super... Every time he said a line, I'm like, you are so awkward. You fit so well! Like, he's so, like, awkward and, like, doesn't know what to say.
Yeah.
The metaphor line is fantastic.
Oh my gosh.
Where he says, nothing goes over my head. My reflexes are too quick.
Oh
I would
my
catch
gosh.
It. That is awesome.
It's his... He's just stuck in this stage of, like past straightforward warrior thespianism almost kind of thing.
I mean,
it's this mix of the literal context, and he has this, like, happy-go-lucky Battleman courageous thing going as well. That part where they fly into the crevice of the ship and he's just laughing his head off as they're destroying everything.
So it's moments like that where I was like, okay, that was pretty awesome.
They
like,
they all
did a
kind
good
of
job.
had their own place.
Yeah,
You know?
and I don't know who the guy who plays Drax is. Apparently he's just a professional wrestler.
Really?
I know, right? I was like, you just hired this guy?
That's awesome.
He did awesome.
Seriously.
He did really good. So I really like Drax. So here's what I'll say about the characters. I liked most of the characters.
Mhm.
I really did.
Yeah.
I do like Chris Pratt as Star-Lord. I think he can be a great dramatic actor. But I think the problem was in the middle of all of this other comedic stuff, he has to stop and be dramatic for 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Definitely.
you're just pushing it a little bit too much. And ultimately, I felt like, oh man, just let him do his thing.
But I think something that will help in the future, like, push that sympathizing thing forward, even though you thought it was a little rushed, maybe in the future, is just the other side of him. Besides just being really funny, he just has this lovable, sincere quality to him.
Yeah, and I'm like, I want more of that to come out, and less, oh, my mom died when I was young. Like, I was like, don't worry about that. Like focus on, like, I feel like he wouldn't be hung up on that. He listens to music and he's dancing all the time. I mean, this is the first scene in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
He seems very like, no, I just have to stay positive and upbeat. But then somebody asked him a question and he's like, hold on, let me get down for a second. I'm like, no, that doesn't seem like him. You know what I mean? Maybe that was my problem.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm thinking about this now.
Just trying to force it too much.
Maybe it is. I don't know. Because I felt like that wasn't him. Like,
Right.
he listens to the 80s pop music all the time.
Yeah.
Stays positive.
I
and
like
upbeat, and,
I like that. Just the tape itself. It's
That was
it's
awesome.
a great tool.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
And also, that is going to lead to a lot of sales.
Oh,
these
yeah.
songs.
Yeah, these random, like,
Right?
what is it, 80s songs
Yeah,
or
80s
something?
pop songs. It's going to
So,
be really,
Yeah,
really funny.
they already have the awesome mix playlist everywhere.
Everywhere. It's already on iTunes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
good for random people.
yeah. So, speaking of characters, let's talk about Gamora, because I don't know if you didn't like Gamora. I didn't, personally.
Well, okay, here's what I think about Gamora. She wasn't funny, obviously.
Right? Thank you! This is my problem. Every line she had, like, the line where he, like, puts the headphones on her, and they're trying to have, like, that moment, and it's supposed to be funny where she kind of pulls one of those, and we'll talk about this in a second, like...
Oh, the pelvic hypnotizing or whatever line?
No. Oh,
Okay.
yes, that one. Okay.
To me, that was her only funny line, and that was heavily driven by Chris Pratt.
Right, yeah, exactly. And, like, I keep going back to that scene as, like, that should have been funnier than it was, but her delivery was just like, oh, God.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I mean...
It wasn't funny. And
Yeah.
and every other line she had that was supposed to be funny, she's talking to Drax or whatever, is not funny. And then, the other thing that bothered me about Gamora is, like, she's this assassin, she wants to get away from Thanos, and Ronan is his name. And then she's the most sensible one. But she's like an assassin, working for hire. But she's the one consistently pushing the fact that they need to get this thing to the Nova Corps.
Mm.
And I was a little like, if Star-Lord's going to be the leader, I thought he was going to be the one to do that. I guess it just felt like it didn't fit her character all that much. Like, most things in the movie didn't fit her character. Or maybe it was just the actress or something. I don't know.
Like,
but every line she had, I was like...
I felt a lot
just
like...
fit you.
Yeah, I felt like the whole assassin piece was really just an act... Well, was kind of an act of the character, because, like, even though she's super trained to be an assassin... Assassin...
There you go. Assassin.
She has this very heavy sense of justice in her.
Yeah,
which
maybe
pushes forward the logic of it. And as far as, like, Chris Pratt or Star-Lord not taking the helm as the leader in so much, to me he really resembled a typical shonen anime main character.
Yeah.
As in, like, in the beginning he's just kind of this, like, silly screw-up, and then by the end of the movie he just starts becoming, like, super powerful and stuff.
Yeah.
And I can already see he's gonna be like this insanely overpowered person because obviously his father is something insanely extraordinary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something is happening there.
Yeah.
Which also is very interesting
Mm-hmm.
because I don't know, maybe his father is Thanos. That could be interesting too, or something. I don't know, but
I don't know. Like, what is it? If you remember in the beginning, the mother was saying something about like him being like composed of like light or something crazy like that.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. It's interesting.
We'll see. I don't know if that's a comic book storyline or that's a new. I'm pretty sure it's a comic book storyline.
Yeah.
I would assume. But anyway, I don't know. We'll have to see.
Definitely.
What's going on with him? But just going back to Gamora really quickly.
Yeah.
So I think we both agree she wasn't that funny.
Yeah.
And her character just seemed kind of there most of the time.
I mean, she wasn't funny and probably didn't bring the best performance, but as a character, she was very necessary, I'd say, because she had the greatest tie-in with Thanos, as well as...
That's a good point.
She's one of the best at combat of the group.
Yeah.
So...
That's a good point.
Right.
Yeah, and that was what I was thinking
unfortunately,
too,
that doesn't shine in a movie that's so heavily pushing forward comedy.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Ultimately, she just fell flat for me, which was really unfortunate, because I like Zoe Saldana a lot.
Oh, yeah.
But she kind of fell flat. And I was just kind of sitting there like, eh. Which is unfortunate, really.
Yeah.
Like I said, though, I think Drax was the biggest surprise.
Definitely.
Rocket, I knew was going to be funny.
Yeah.
Because I had a feeling that they were going to give him some really great lines.
Definitely.
He was not my favorite character. But he was pretty good, and Bradley Cooper did a great job.
Mm-hmm. Chris Pratt, hands down, was a great promise to amazingness.
Yeah. And ultimately, Chris Pratt wasn't even my favorite part. Like, that was the shocking part, is I was like, I liked Chris Pratt, and he was definitely funny. Especially the dancing scenes. I have to admit, I think I was in a movie theater, I was with people that didn't like the dancing scenes. And that was actually, I liked him, personally. I was like, I thought that was funny. And I like Chris Pratt a lot. So, that was cool. But sometimes Chris Pratt was just kind of like, it's kind of like over here. But Drax would shine. And like, I would really think Drax was funny in that scene. So it was weird because I'm like, it's fucking Chris Pratt. He should be funny all the time.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's I was more shocked by Drax and Rocket and Groot.
Oh my goodness,
was
Groot.
Great.
He was amazing.
The scene where he absolutely destroys everybody and then he turns around and smiles.
Yeah, that was the best.
That was awesome.
Oh my gosh.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I liked it still. Obviously. And I want to mention something before we, get too far away from it, is the one thing I noticed, and I was talking about this with the people I saw it in the theater with, is this movie does a really cool thing, actually, where it, for the comedy's sake, it brings attention to the fact that there are these movie moments that always happen that are stupid. My favorite example is when they're all standing up, and Rocket has the line in the group, right, where they're like, we're going to go die and try to get the Infinity Stone or whatever, and they're all standing up, and then Rocket stands up and he goes, look, standing up now. Now we're a bunch of jackasses standing up in a circle. That was and that happens a lot in it, where it's like, it just breaks almost the immersion of the movie, sort of.
Yeah.
And it just brings attention to the fact that, like, why would you do this?
Right.
In this instance.
Absolutely.
Like, that makes absolutely no sense.
There's another instance that they did this in Guardians, but they also, I feel like, do this in just Marvel movies in general, is they totally bash on the villain monologue.
That's great.
Yeah.
And that was another one, too.
Yeah,
It was so
absolutely.
fantastic. It was like, this is hilarious.
It's like, while he's talking, Rocket is scrambling to, like, build a gun and stuff like that. It's like, they did that really well with Avengers, too. Hulk beating up Loki and all that jazz.
It's great, right?
Yeah, it was needed.
Yeah, and it's funny, too, because, like, the villain's about to do this whole thing, and Chris Pratt becomes the distraction by doing the dance battle thing.
Yeah.
Which at first I was like, I don't know if I like this. And then as I went on, I was like, okay, this is actually kind of funny. And then of course, it's all like a distraction or
Yeah.
whatever. And that's another great example of it's just like, hold on, we're just gonna break immersion. Chris Pratt
absolutely.
just dances for like 30 seconds, and I'm like that. I can totally appreciate doing that.
Definitely.
Because honestly, if you would have just played all those things straight like you normally do, it wouldn't have been nearly as entertaining.
Mm-mm.
And the fact that they were like, nah, hang on, we're gonna do something crazy and off the cuff and doesn't make any sense. And like I said, to me, that was the whole movie, and that's why it felt hit or miss to me sometimes.
Okay.
Because it was like, we're gonna just do something off the cuff. Something, we're gonna write a joke that you would never write. And sometimes I was like, that was really funny. And sometimes I was like, that was a miss. You're pushing, but it was alright. It's alright, we can move on.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
That's where I felt like, and that whole, like, making fun of kind of movie moments or, hero things, that's funny to me.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of the best parts.
Yeah.
That was another one where, and it wasn't really a miss necessarily, but the one where Gamora, pulls his knife on him and has that, what's the line about pelvic?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, whatever that is.
Whatever that is. Yeah.
Right? Like, that was pretty funny, but
Mhm.
like, that's another one.
Yeah.
Where it's like, nah, I'm not gonna fall in love with you, So anyway, yeah, I generally say I would like it. People have asked me, because here's the thing, like, I know I wasn't really bashing on it, but I brought up flaws. People ask me, oh, so should I not see the movie then?
Absolutely not.
Go see the movie.
You need to see this.
Because the thing about the movie is that I walked out of there going, yeah, that was good. And as I'm there with other people, everybody else was like, yeah, it was okay. And I was like, no, I thought it was good because I laughed a lot.
Yeah.
And ultimately, I think it was worth it.
Right.
Like, 100%. And just comedy-wise, go see it, first of all.
Yeah.
And second of all, which we haven't talked about at all, is the production design. If you are at all interested in sci-fi, go see the production for the production design.
Yeah. It's a really interesting.
The Nova universe. City is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
His ship I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
There were some people in the theater that didn't agree with me on that one. Tommy for one. But his ship was really Ronan's ship. Star-Lord's ship was pretty cool, but generally just generic. But the best part is Nowhere. Nowhere is phenomenal, and that is, in my opinion, one of the best pieces of set design I've seen in a couple years.
Okay.
Nowhere was the head of the being that had been caved out.
Right.
And they live in it.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
That got me curious. I was like, what is this thing?
Right?
Is this going to be important?
You see it from the outside and you're like, what the fuck? And then on the inside with the mining ships and everything's very, like,
gritty,
anarchic,
and and stuff.
Gritty, yeah. It was phenomenal. It was so good. So that was just incredible to me, and that was my favorite scene.
Mm-hmm.
Was the part in Nowhere.
Yeah.
The Collector, obviously, a great piece of set design as well. He has all of those different things. He's got the dog in the spacesuit.
Yeah.
Everything else, right? Like, that was really cool.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I mean, Nowhere was definitely my favorite piece of design from the movie.
Definitely.
And the CG, I think, generally sometimes could have been better. Like, some of the slow-mo was like, wow, there's some heavy CG going on here. Like, it wasn't, because you can tell there was slow-mo with, like, Groot and Rocket as they're running away from the explosion in the Collectors.
Yeah.
You can tell that's all CG slow-mo.
Oh, yeah.
And it was not very good. And I was kind of like, oh. But that isn't to say that the rest of this is totally up to snuff. It's sometimes better than the Avengers, CG-wise, just pure CG-wise.
Yeah.
There aren't a lot of action scenes like the Avengers. There's not
as much, no.
And that kind of disappointed me, too. That was kind of a miss for the movie for me.
I think...
Where I was like, some of the action was just kind of like, yeah, alright, but... It was missing the Avengers stuff.
I think it's good because it sets itself apart from the Avengers. Like, I think one thing they did a really good job is just really defining themselves as their own entity. As in, no, we're not just another set of, like, crazy, super powered action people.
Yeah.
It's like, they're actually, like, total, like, underdogs who are, like, sometimes awkward and not too graceful and just like trying to survive, you know,
Okay, and
kind of thing. Which again, I point out what makes them such a great team is that they really do all need each other,
yeah,
kind of thing, you know.
I mean, yeah, as far as what action we did have, I'm not gonna say it was bad. I think I've heard a couple things about people who are like, there wasn't enough action, and I was like, well, maybe not, but I liked what action there was.
The fighting choreography didn't pull the forefront of the movie.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Um,
It was the comedy, really.
Yeah.
Which
they
I was okay with.
Yeah, they didn't advertise it any other way, you know.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Yeah. Now there was one big thing that this is probably my biggest issue with the movie.
Okay.
Is that with all these different like plots and like stringing together with Marvel and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the overall story was a little weaker than most Marvel movies because it got lost in the cameos and connections.
Yeah.
And it was fighting to define its own entity instead of us looking for all these different clues to the next Marvel movie or like Thanos. Personally, I didn't care about Ronan at all.
So, okay, I'm really glad that you said that.
Yeah.
Because I didn't even want to mention that. That's my biggest miss in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I'm talking about hit and miss. A hit would be Thanos, and a miss would be Ronan. I'm like, who the fuck are you, and why are you in this movie? I actually got angry at some point.
He's a middleman just to, like, take up the space for this movie, because we have to wait for Thanos to the very end.
I'm like, he's just there. He's totally one-dimensional. The only good scene with him is at the very end where Chris Pratt challenges him to a dance battle to distract him.
Yeah.
That's the only thing.
Right.
And I'm like, there's just so much of it where I was like, why don't you just go away? Just go. I don't care about you. You're so boring.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, so boring.
Yeah.
Incredibly one-dimensional.
Right.
He just comes out from the goo at the beginning of the movie, and he's like, I am Ronan, I am awesome, and I will be the bad guy.
I got a stone. I'm gonna kill everyone.
What the fuck? That was my only problem. That was like, god damn it. I don't know. He was so
He's a total middleman villain. He's not Loki. He's
not in any
Loki.
way.
Yeah.
And Marvel has a problem, I've realized. Loki is their good villain. But that's it. They haven't had a really, really good villain. He's
a good first level villain, I would say, because we're waiting for Thanos.
Right?
That's
maybe,
the thing.
maybe. But I'm just talking villains in general. I don't care who's behind it all or whatever.
Yeah.
Loki's just a good villain. Period.
Yeah.
He's really the only one they have. I can't call Thanos a good villain yet because we've seen him in one movie.
Yeah.
2 movies if you count the smile at the end of the Avengers, and that's it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's just been in Guardians of the Galaxy. We don't know enough about him yet.
And he didn't do anything really in that one.
It
was just to feed the fans, you know? And, I mean, it goes back to that point where you were saying, like, we didn't have enough time to really, like, sympathize or bond with these characters and stuff. All these different, like, cameo connections things just hurt that process even more.
Yeah.
Like, on top of having to like 5 characters at once, on top of needing to unite them right away, on top of, like, them, like, learning to fight together, they also have to fight all this other Marvel stuff in it. So it's just, like, compressing so much, like you were saying.
Yeah, it is. And, I mean, here's my thing. I don't usually mention anything about pacing or plot, because most people just want to go and laugh and look at the action and have a decently paced plot.
That's the Marvel hook.
That's the Marvel hook.
Yeah.
So, I never really, like, it's not that I don't pay any attention to that. Like, I do. But the plot is never, like, the main, like, oh, that was plot hole. You know, why is he out in space? Like, just fucking ignore it, right?
Yeah.
Like, who cares? It's a Marvel movie. It's completely unrelated. Nobody cares, right? But the one thing in this movie, so I usually don't pay attention to, like, villains, why villains are doing something. stuff like that, because I'm like, that's all just part of the plot.
Yeah.
It'll get there. It's a Marvel movie. It's an action movie. It'll be a good ride. I tried to do that with Ronin, and I honestly couldn't. I got like halfway through the movie with Ronin, and I'm like, I don't know why I care about you. Why I should care.
You know who it reminds me of a lot of? Korra's uncle in Avatar. For the second season.
Yeah.
He's evil to be evil, kind of thing. It was a really similar one-dimensional.
The only explanation for that is that, he's in tune with the spirit world. And so now he wants to control it? Anyway, I agree. I totally agree. He's like a one-dimensional, just like, nah, you're evil. That's your only characteristic.
Mm-hmm.
Loki is evil and he has other characteristics.
Right.
He's a good villain.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's just hard to write good villains in a comic book universe.
Well,
I don't know.
Also, what is it? Loki is the only villain that wasn't disposed of after one movie, right?
Because he was so good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think that's the thing.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Yeah, there's just a... I don't know. They have a problem with that. And maybe it is. Maybe it's just hard to write good villains. And they wrote Loki, and they kind of got lucky because he was in with Thor, so there was some dynamic there that was interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe they got lucky with that, and they just haven't been able to hit it since. But Ronin is, in my opinion, is one of the worst.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I'm really glad you brought him up, actually, because I didn't want to feel like I was railing on this movie.
Hey, we gotta be 100% honest.
I know.
I mean,
it's good.
We're analysts.
That's very true. I'm very analytical when it comes to visual stuff, visual media. So in movies, I'm very analytical. So I just didn't even want to mention the villain. I was just kind of glossing over that. But I'm glad you did, because as honestly a big minus for the movie.
Mm-hmm.
My thing is, just take Karen Gilliam's character, blue, bald,
the robot
girl.
Yeah.
Take her. She's the villain. She works for Thanos. She's after Gamora. Wouldn't that be all you need? If she's the main villain, she works for Thanos, you don't even need Roman. You don't need this whole Kree storyline, which comes out of nowhere and we know absolutely nothing about.
I would say the only purpose for Ronin is showing the power of the Infinity Stone. Honestly.
But couldn't you do that with her?
I don't know. She seems like she doesn't have that deity quality to her. But in theory, they could make her that.
Yeah, and I don't know. I just felt as if Ronin was oddly put in there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we just needed Thanos to be up on high, ruling and saying, my daughter, go destroy my other daughter because she betrayed me.
Yeah.
I mean, really, that might be all you need. It just seemed like Ronin was completely unnecessary.
I mean, if that was the only thing to Robot Girl's character going after Gamora, it wouldn't have gotten the entire, Galaxy Police involved or, anything like that. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
Because, Ronin's going after the entire planet. I mean, it's a standard, staple, kind of necessary, villain, but Ronin just doesn't push anything else out there.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
He could have been anyone else.
Seriously.
Kind of thing. Yeah.
You could have put anyone else in his place. It would have done the same thing. And that's sad.
The plot points of that are necessary, but him as a character
is not.
It doesn't stand out at all. Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, that's
I
a main problem.
did like Robot Girl though, but she got no screen time
whatsoever.
No screen time.
She was pretty good, but
going back to bashing on villain generic monologue stuff when she got shot in the face with the rocket launcher right away.
That was great. Yeah. Another one of those where it's those movie moments that always happens in movies. Nope, we're not doing it.
Exactly.
That was great.
It's what you're thinking in every single movie. Yep. It's just attack her now.
Yeah, it's just fucking attack her.
Yeah.
No, that was awesome. And that was Drax. So once again, Drax is so great.
Right. So when all is said and done, it was still absolutely amazing, and I was fully satisfied because comedy was, as a whole, was absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
And this new universe is absolutely interesting.
So that's I agree with you that it was good. I'm not gonna go with amazing.
Okay.
But it was good. Some hit and miss moments with the comedy, but that's what I'm most excited about.
Yeah.
Is this universe is different.
Mm-hmm.
So seeing what else we saw nowhere, favorite part of the movie.
Yeah.
We can see other things like that. I'm very interested on where this goes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we can potentially see anything. I mean, there are limitless opportunities here. This is the fucking universe.
And I'm so glad they did this. I'm so glad we're finally in the stage of Marvel Unknowns. Because I'm super curious now, and I finally got a Marvel Unlimited account.
Yeah.
I'm hooked now. I'm delving into the comics, and I'm sure it's starting to hook other people as well.
Yeah, no, with this movie, I'm sure it will.
Yeah.
Because people are going to go back and probably read more into it.
Definitely.
I am excited to see, I mean, we saw the Nova Corps. We did not see Nova. We haven't seen Doctor Strange. And
they were saying
coming out.
They were saying the guy who's supposed to be Nova was in it for like a split second.
Oh, okay.
Like he was a soldier in a ship getting shot down or something crazy like that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, I can see them doing that. Oh, maybe that's how they rebuild him. Maybe they rebuild him after he falls from the sky and he becomes Nova. Ooh, that would be interesting.
They're getting so connected. It's crazy.
Okay, I like it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we haven't seen any of these, and I'm pretty sure Nova, Doctor Strange, and
they're hinting Doctor Strange,
Ant-Man,
hardcore.
Are gonna be the next basically 3 Marvel movies. So,
and Ultron is coming up.
They need to take place in this universe. I mean, Nova obviously will.
Yeah.
But don't put Ant-Man on Earth, whatever, or don't put Doctor Strange, on Earth or whatever. Let's have it be more Guardians of the Galaxy, because I'm interested in seeing that.
Okay. So, how do you feel about Howard the Duck at the end?
It's dumb. It was dumb. I'm sorry.
Really?
It was dumb.
I thought it was great.
No. I was no. I'm sorry. I can't.
I thought, what was awesome about that was, nobody in the world would expect that. And
I guess.
I saw him and I started looking into his backstory. He's this really old Marvel comic based on bashing society and politics and stuff. And it's I'm strangely interested in that.
I mean, they made a Howard the Duck movie in the 80s and it bombed.
It was one of the worst movies in the world, pretty much.
Yeah.
But that's kind of why I'd want them to make another, because Marvel has done so many incredible things right now with their movies. It's
that might be true.
What, could they do this?
Yeah.
How far does their power go,
Could
they do this and make it good?
I don't know if I want to see that. Even if you could make it good, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. No, I thought it was kind of. It was. I mean, it was fine. I don't care about Howard the Duck. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
And I was kind of okay, it's a throwaway moment. Maybe I was waiting for the credits to see something that would give more plot away. So maybe that's why I was a little
I think
Howard
it's
the Duck.
I think it's okay that they slapped the Howard the Duck in there, because this movie had heavier Marvel hintings and integrations throughout the movie than any other one in the past.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right.
Yeah. So thorough discussion
of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, I would really recommend it. It's a great summer movie because it's unlike a movie like Transformers where it's absolutely terrible. This movie is funny. It has good action sequences. It's a fun movie to go see in the theater. So go see it.
And I'm going to be mean and say, guys, please don't see Ninja Turtles. We need to stop giving this guy money and ruining our beloved childhood series.
I'm really glad you said that, because I want to mention this. Don't go see Ninja Turtles. Don't give Michael Bay money. Please, no matter
He's just
what.
gonna get a hold of
He's just
another
gonna get a
beloved
hold of another
cartoon
one.
and ruin it.
Do not go see the movie. Just don't. Because I'm serious. No matter how good it is never as good as Nostalgia, number 1, and number 2, it's fucking Michael Bay. I just saw Transformers 4.
We know exactly what it is gonna be.
Transformers 4 was the worst movie I've seen in at least 5 years. Don't go see Ninja Turtles. Everybody's like, it's exciting and exhilarating. Don't fucking see it. Go see Guardians of the Galaxy. It's much better. It deserves more money.
Absolutely.
It deserves money more than Michael Bay does.
Yes.
Don't go see Ninja Turtles, please. I'm very passionate about this.
Yes. I love Ninja Turtles too.
I'm not giving Michael Bay more money.
No.
I'm never seeing another Transformer. I'm never seeing another fucking any movie he makes.
Yeah.
I don't care. God, he's so bad.
Okay.
Alright, I'm done. I'm sorry.
It was necessary. But Guardian
Alright.
of the Galaxy.
I'm sorry, I went on a rant a little bit. But no, seriously, go see Guardians. It's good.
Yeah.
And if you want to tell me if I'm wrong, and Guardians was the greatest movie you've ever seen, then you can tell us.
Yeah, tell us your reasonings. If you want to expand on our opinions more, mention some cameos we missed, defend the plot a little more than we did.
Yeah.
Don't message us if you're defending Michael Bay.
Yeah, just don't even.
No, we're just kidding.
If you want to defend Transformers 4, I don't know how I can respond to that.
I think this is the most aggressive we've been at the end of a podcast ever.
You can try to defend other Michael Bay movies, but Transformers 4 specifically, I don't want to get into that.
Hey, you know what? Whatever you want to say, message us, comment us.
All right,
That's fine.
sure.
Let's give them the links.
Okay, yeah. Here's where you can yell at me about Michael Bay. So, you could go to facebook.com/thefanvoicepodcast.
youtube.com/thefanvoicepodcast.
We're on Twitter @fanvoicepodcast.
Our email fan@thefanvoice.com.
Mm-hmm. And then you can go to thefanvoice.com where we post news and related items, articles, other stuff.
Yeah, cool things like that.
Yeah. Tell us what you thought about Guardians.
Yeah.
If you thought it was funny.
Down low.
If you want, what other obscure comic book heroes you think would make good movies?
Howard the Duck 2015.
I don't know how I feel about that.
No
All
one
right.
will support me.
No one else is yelling at home. Everybody else is like, oh, Paul.
If you're telling me I'm an idiot for wanting the Howard the Duck movie, message
we're gonna get a bunch of negative messages now about Howard the Duck and Michael Bay.
Fan shoutouts number 2.
It's all Michael Bay.
Paul, no Howard the Duck.
Please,
Andrew,
no.
more Michael Bay.
Alright, guys. Well, we'll see you next time for episode 18.
Thank you. Bye-bye.